Welcome everybody to another episode of the Nerd Continuity, where we talk about design, development, and all other crazy sort of stuff that we find online. Joining us today is Rebecca Borough, the founder of Knit Marketing, a digital marketing agency based in LA that it's kind of peculiar because hires mostly just young people to produce and manage web campaigns. So it uses their own addiction to social media basically to do all the things necessary to be successful on social media. Enjoy. Welcome, Rebecca. How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thank you for being and appearing at the Nerd Continuity podcast. It's going to be also on YouTube, so everyone
Awesome.
can see you.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah,
Thanks.
awesome. So for the audience and the people that don't know anything about you, introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us about yourself, what you do, who are you, and why you're here and why you're awesome.
Okay. Hi, I'm Rebecca Burrow, and I am the founder of Knit Marketing, which is a digital marketing company based in Los Angeles. And we're awesome because we hire teenagers and young adults to run social media campaigns and build websites for our clients.
Oh, fantastic. When did you open Knit Marketing?
In June 2016. So we've been at it for about a year and a half.
Awesome. And since the beginning, you had the idea to just or like mostly hire young people, youth, or that came kind of like naturally after a while?
No, that's actually the whole reason that we started. So I wanted to offer job opportunities and training to young people, and seeing as though teenagers are always on their phones and social media, it just seemed like the right opportunity in a way to both offer them jobs and take advantage of their sort of innate skills and abilities.
Oh, interesting. That's a really cool thing. Like pretty much like you're awesome because you do all these amazing things for the youth. Like there's this conception, like this, I don't know, this idea that if you're young, you don't know anything, like you are not able to work, or like it's useless to hire you until you're, I don't know, 30 and you have like 10 years of experience and stuff like that. But you decided to just hire young people because mostly because of the way they interact better with this digital world that it's basically pretty much like what you do for work. So you take care of the marketing aspect, the social media marketing aspect of clients and other companies.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny that you say, people think you can't have a job until you have all this experience. But what I have, what I sort of thought and what I've learned and continue to see all the time is that young people, teenagers specifically, are not like put off by anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
They're still very optimistic and they have a lot of great ideas. And so while I can teach them skills, I can teach them like how to post at what time of day and the analytics. And those are all things that people can learn. But attitude and work ethic are really not things you can learn. So it's really fun and refreshing to work with young people because they're not they're not like tainted by the world yet, like
Oh
we
yeah.
grown-ups are.
I bet like your working days are super fun and unpredictable, right?
Yes, yeah, lots of funny jokes and silly things happen.
Inappropriate
Lots of
young jokes, probably.
fun.
That's my kind of environment. I love
Yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
fun.
Okay, random question. Why am I wearing the Los Angeles hat? Just like, yeah.
Because, well, I don't know why you are wearing it, but you got it in Los Angeles when you were at our conference almost 2 weeks ago.
What was this conference about? Like that, it was pretty awesome, like everything you do.
It was called the Get Stuff Done Conference. It was our first conference, and I think it will be an annual thing. And it was a digital marketing conference, so we brought in experts in different, basically digital mediums. Alex, you were one of them. You
Yeah.
talked about YouTube, and we
Yes.
also had experts talk podcasts, Instagram stories, storytelling, webinars. I'm forgetting one. Oh, and chatbots.
Oh, yes.
Uh, yeah, and so it was really great. The speakers all did fabulously,
Hmm.
yourself included,
Thank you.
and and gave what people really liked was that you got guests walked away with like really tangible advice on how to start a YouTube channel or a podcast, and they were able to sit down with the speakers and get a lot more one-on-one feedback. So that was what guests really liked about it, and that's sort of why we called it the Get Stuff Done
Hmm.
conference. We wanted people to really feel like they were going to be able to implement everything that they learned, and the feedback that we got was pretty good. So I think hopefully we'll check in with all of our guests in about a month and see if they actually did what they said they were going to do, but they felt inspired and
Yeah.
motivated, so
You'll
that's
see
really
if
awesome.
they got something done actually
Yeah.
in the past
Yeah,
month. Yeah, I
right.
really liked the way the conference was built and like was structured. It was like really direct, and that's something like that I noticed in social media recently. Everyone has this like, I don't know, marketing key points, and you have to follow this structure and you have to maybe like follow this trend and stuff like that, but it's always really cloudy and it's kind of like confusing, and especially because of like the massive amount of platforms that you could use in order to jumpstart your business and stuff like that. Instead, you organize the conference to like have some specific slots and some specific argument, and say, okay, if you want to do this, you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's gonna be. It was really linear and easy to follow, and I was surprised actually when you invited me. And I thought like this is gonna be like mostly like a really young audience of like young professionals or even like students that they wanna just learn these things. Instead, it was like a really diverse type of like age, and they were like really like adult professionals that already had a business, but they wanted to understand better how to change it. So that was really interesting.
Yeah, I was sort of surprised about that too. And it seemed like the audience, a lot of them actually even had a marketing background, but a couple of people had said to me, yeah, I've worked in marketing for a long time, but there's just so many things that are changing so quickly, and I don't know how to do any of this
Hmm.
stuff. So they looked at it as a good opportunity to get a little bit of a lot of different tools.
Yeah, that's great. So, your team, let's talk about your team a little bit. Like, tell me, and this is gonna upset me a lot, but tell me the age span of your team.
Why is that going to upset you? We
Because
all have to
they're
start
they're
somewhere.
too young.
Yeah, but it's fun. So the age range is from 17 to 31, including myself.
Okay.
The rest of the team is 17 to 26.
That's so young. Like up until I was 25, I didn't know what to do with my life. I was like, I'm gonna be an artist. Oh.
Well, they're still figuring it out too. I mean, we had not working with us anymore because they started college, but the two girls that I started with are going to go on to be teachers and nurses. So they're not really doing anything in
Mhm.
digital marketing, but it was still a cool opportunity for them.
That is
So
amazing. Yeah. Did you like you said you decided to hire like young audience because like they have their feet deep into this digital world, so they can bring a different perspective to the company and stuff like that. But did you, I don't know, like if you had to have a different experience with like adult or like regular professionals or sort of regular works, I don't know if like is the right word to use it in this case, but uh, what are the pros and cons of having like really young employees compared to actual people that, okay, I want to be social media manager, and I have this and I study social media management for like taught years and stuff like that. What are the like major differences that you noticed?
well, I guess there's a lot of things. The one, I guess, it's not really a negative, but something that I always need to be looking out for in hiring a young team is I always have to check all the work and make sure it's spelled correctly and, grammatically correct. Although when I was working in an office full of adults, we all checked each other's emails. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if that's really an age thing. I think that's probably just something that you have to do
Mm-hmm.
anyway. Um, but I think one benefit of hiring somebody out of college that had like a degree in social media would be that they supposedly know everything already. I wouldn't have to teach them anything.
Hmm.
But at the same time, they might not be as malleable because they would come in and might think, well, I already know everything, so you don't have to teach me anything. So I don't know. I guess I don't have enough to compare it to because I have only hired people with no experience.
Oh.
But having no experience or limited experience hasn't been a problem.
Hmm.
Like I said, there's skills that they can learn, and everything else we sort of just learn as we go.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really inspiring actually. It's like it's kind of rare to have this opportunity, especially like this day and age. It's like really, no, you're young, you don't know anything. Shut up, like go back to school, stuff like that. Instead, like, no, come here, I can teach you everything. It's really inspiring. What is the reaction of the clients when they know that your team is so young?
We've played with like either when I talk to leads on the phone or prospects on the phone, I sort of wait to see if it's even necessary to mention how old
Hmm.
our team is. But what I've been learning, the people that think, oh, they're too young, like we've had a few people at trade shows say, oh, that's weird. Why would you want to work with teenagers? Like, okay, fine. If you're going to be like that, we
Okay,
don't want you as a client anyway.
good.
But most people, when they're getting to the point of deciding who they're going to hire for marketing, if they're already going to spend the money, they like that their money is going to a place where they, with their dollars, are giving somebody an opportunity.
Hmm.
So it hasn't been an issue. And I think they like that it's this fresh idea, and a lot of grown-ups like ourselves or even older than us are sort of intimidated by social media. So they like the idea that, 17-year-old is running their social media because it seems easier to them.
Hmm.
And they like that they can sort of just stay away from it and let somebody else do it. So it doesn't scare them that it's a teenager. In fact, I think they like it.
Yeah. Maybe like you're solving like the main issue that I had many clients, especially like universities, that, oh, we need to do like a social media campaign that appeals to millennials and appeals to young audience, but the entire team that is behind it is like 35 plus. So we don't know how youths talk, stuff like that. Instead, like you offer them, hey, this is an actual kid that
Right.
it's like using these things every day and knows what it's lame and what it's cool. So you
Yeah.
can actually offer better suggestions and better solutions from that point of view.
Yeah, it's sort of like, yeah, don't, forget all like the stacks of like market research. Just come to us. So we have a young team already, and
Hmm.
we'll plan this stuff for you. So you don't have to wonder what are the millennials thinking about? Or now it's Gen Z. A lot of our
Yeah.
team is Gen Z and millennials. So
What's gonna be the next one? Well, like we finished the alphabet. Are we gonna
I
go to the
know.
Greek alphabet, the generation
maybe
alpha, the generation
maybe
beta,
they'll be double letters. I don't know.
uh, generation AA, anonymous
Yeah, maybe.
alcoholism, or something like that? I don't know. It's gonna be so weird. But was this always the thing that you wanted to do, or that happened kind of like naturally, or happen like out of the blue? And how did you reach this point that I'm gonna open a company, I'm gonna just hire youth audience or like youth employees and stuff?
Well, I wanted to work with youth. I have a background in education, and I wanted to do something in education, maybe opening my own tutoring company or somehow contribute in that world. But when I was at grad school, I sort of was studying that here in Los Angeles and learned that there's already a lot going on in education. There's a lot of amazing people. Of course, there's always work to be done, but there's a lot of amazing people and organizations doing great work in education. So I didn't really feel like there was a hole for me to fill. And one of the things that I have always sort of fallen into along my career is doing marketing. I don't have um, actual training in marketing, but I've always done like the social media for companies or whatever my role was. I did that. So I guess the two things sort of just led to one another. I wanted to do something with youth and offer them opportunities, and then seeing them on their phones all the time, it sort of just became like an obvious connection of
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to start a company, I want to offer opportunities, and businesses need marketing. So that just sort of went together.
Yeah, it feels really natural. Like you arrived at that decision, at that like goal pretty naturally, following like your path of study and all the things that you liked. So can you say that you actually do what you love, or is like, do you consider this as a job or more as like a sort of inspiration?
I guess both. I mean, it's definitely a job. It's my
Wow.
full-time job,
Yeah,
but I also love doing it. But
that's great.
one of the comments that I get though, when I explain that story of like youth and social media, a lot of people say, "Oh, how obvious. Why didn't I think of that?" And I say, yeah, it is obvious, but at the same time, like, and I've learned it is fun and it is like an obvious connection, but there's still a lot of work that goes into it. Like
Mhm.
I'm constantly training, new team members and checking the work and monitoring like a young team that they don't know how or when to show up on time and all of those things. So there's definitely
Yeah.
there's definitely the work aspect of it too. But it I love what I do. I love my team, and it definitely it's both. You said, is it a job or is it inspiration? I
Mhm.
guess it's both.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Congratulations. That's like pretty much the goal of everyone, like doing something that you love and getting paid to do that. So that's like double win. You said that, of course, as probably everybody knows, like the speed and pace of new technologies and new stuff, new marketing researches, and all these crazy things in this environment is like just too fast to keep up. You cannot always be on top of the game and stuff like that. So how do you balance the fact that you have to teach unexperienced employees and plus be relevant and be updated and also update your personal skills, because you can't, I assume, like you cannot teach the same things year after year. Like you have to
Right.
also update your knowledge in the meantime. So how do you balance all these madness? And it's like crazy.
Yeah. I think that's like a constant. We have to be constantly learning. Um, it's become sort of a running joke with our team. We meet, everybody works remotely, and we meet together once a week, and it's become sort of a running joke. It's like, okay, what did Becca learn listening to podcasts this week? Or like, what crazy idea is she going to come with this week? So it is. You're right. It's always changing. I read a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts, watch a lot of how to's on YouTube, which is how we found you, Alex.
Yay.
So I think I'm always learning. And when we bring on new team members, that's something that comes up in interviews is, we're looking for learners too. So that's one of our values and something that we look for when we hire.
That's
I
awesome.
don't know if
Yeah.
that answers your question,
Yeah,
but
no, that's perfect. Yeah, that's I guess like every time I ask this question, like no one has a perfect answer like, "Oh, yes, I study from 8 to 10 a.m., then I go to work, then
yeah,
I go back
yeah.
and I do
Oh
like
my gosh. That would be ideal. Yeah, no, in my ideal world, that's exactly what I do. I wake up, I have a cup of coffee, I do an hour or two of learning, but no, that's never how it really
Yeah, it's
happens.
just insane. It's almost like constantly a shit show every day, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh, like a new feature came out on Instagram or Facebook. Now I have to study and learn how this works. Or, you're helping us build websites, and we get to a point where we're like, oh crap, I don't know how to do this. So we have to, yeah, always learning as we go.
Yeah, we are always behind, like at least a couple of weeks of something that it's happening in the world. So that's beautiful. Um, it's okay. It's like frustrating and challenging and exciting at the same
Yeah, it's
time. So
fun. Keeps you going.
exactly. So do I have a question that are basically are two questions at the same time, but they're I think they're related. Like, if you would give a suggestion to someone that wants to start the same thing that you did, so opening a business and hire pretty young employees just to have the ability to be more present in the current world, social media, what suggestion would you give to that person? And at the same time, what suggestion would you give to a 17 or 16 years old kid that it's really into social media or has some pretty specific, I don't know, development or design skills, what they should do to be relevant and maybe get noticed by someone that wants to open or has a company like you have?
Both really good questions. I think for the person who wants to hire young people, I would say I would always, of course, recommend it and encourage it. But I'd also, one of the things that's hard about internships in general, whatever the industry is that a lot of people hire interns and then they just don't do anything with them. They just say, okay, like you can make the copies or get the coffee or whatever. And the intern doesn't actually learn anything. So that, I guess my recommendation in hiring young people would be, if you're going to hire them and you want them to do a good job, know that you're going to have to put some time into it as well, whether that's actually training them in what you want them to say on social media or having, regular like inspiration meetings or getting their ideas. Like you're going to have to be a part of their learning experience. It doesn't just happen naturally. And if you can dedicate the time to that, then it's totally worth it. And I definitely recommend it. And for the young people looking for jobs, I would say there are so many different resources like blogs and podcasts and things that you can read and listen to. If you want, I can give you a list of things that you could put on the show notes.
Oh yes,
I don't know
absolutely.
what
I
you do
will
with
put
that.
like all the links that you send me in the description below the video
Okay.
and the podcast. So yeah, it would be
Yeah.
really helpful.
I can do that. And then I would also recommend wherever the teen or young adult is, look into local universities, local marketing companies, and just send like direct messages and emails saying, hey, I'm a student and I'm interested in this. Can I come by your office and interview you? It's so much easier to get those informational interviews as a student as a young person. So I would say like definitely take advantage of your age if you're looking to get some feedback or insight from people. We had to do that in grad school, and it was so much easier to get those interviews then than it is now. If I was able to say I'm a student, people were
Yeah.
easily let me into their office, and now they just don't even respond to my emails.
Oh
So
wow, interesting. That's
yeah,
that's weird.
I'm exaggerating,
Wow, it's
but
okay.
being a student
Yeah.
is a really um, good position to get information out of people because
Mhm.
everybody likes to talk about themselves. So if you just go into their office and they'll tell you all about their journeys and their career paths. And,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's something
yeah.
that I give. It's a similar advice that I give when someone wants to start maybe a YouTube channel, wants to start to be a developer and has zero skills. It's like, this is the best time ever because you cannot fail. Like you cannot go lower than right now. It's like it feels kind of shitty to say it, but you're at the beginning, so there's no way you can do some mistakes because you're not at a top position. You don't risk to lose a job or
Right.
you don't risk to not pay your bills. Like you're just starting, so even if you do something wrong, it's okay. Like nothing happens. Like you can try again next time. It's
Right.
like the
Yeah.
perfect moment to start and poke
Go
at.
go all in.
Yeah. What do you think about, like, probably a little direct questions? What do you think about unpaid internships?
They're bad.
Yeah.
That's what I
So
think.
we can confirm, all your employees can confirm they get paid
They
even if
are
they're
paid.
17.
Yes, when they get hired as interns, they make minimum wage, and when they finish their internships, they get a tiny raise. And when we expand and have more clients, they'll get more raises. But yeah, I personally have done unpaid internships, and I think they're okay if you're a person that lives with your parents and can afford to take a summer off and have an unpaid internship. That's fine. I learned a lot from doing unpaid internships myself. But the problem for companies offering that is that you're never going to give opportunities to people that actually need the money. They
Yeah.
can't go a summer without not like they work a lot of hours or not like they make a ton of money, but if it's between my company offering an unpaid internship and somebody else offering a paid internship, they're going to take the one that pays just because it's going to help them buy books or, get through school a little bit easier. So I think unpaid internships really sort of take out a whole
Yeah.
audience.
You can have no filters. You can say like unpaid internships are the shit. So it's like they're
No,
garbage.
they're garbage. They're not the shit.
Oh
They're
yeah,
bad.
that's the opposite. Well, I will cut
Yeah.
it out. No, I won't. It's like, that's really great. That's inspiring as well. Like everything you do, it's inspiring, and you're doing like all the right things from both sort of like business point of view, because you set yourself in a proper position to actually suggest proper solutions for businesses that they need to have like a young audience or an impact on a young audience. You have those skills to offer the right sets of like suggestions and stuff like that, but also you're putting yourself in the, I don't know, with a lot of good karma. Like you're doing all the things properly to support young professionals that they want to enter the world, and like this crazy world of like trying to find a job and not get just, I don't know, work for free forever and just don't make any money and be unemployed when you're 30 because no one actually hired you ever. So
Right.
you're doing like a lot of super cool things. That's why I'm so
Well, thank you.
inspired about the things that you're doing. So it's fantastic.
Thank you.
um
But it's kind of like you said about like young developers, like we're a young company. And so it's easier for us now when we have nothing to make the right choices
mhm.
and decide like, yes, we're going to put money toward our people or whatever. It's easier for us to make those choices now than if and when we get bigger to all of a sudden be like, oh, now we have to pay our people.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be, it's easier to start well than to all of a sudden like become a better human
Yeah,
when you
that's
have the money to
true.
do so.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And with all the experience that you do at the beginning, then when you grow and you become like a really big company, you're not gonna do mistakes that probably companies that grew too fast or like they started immediately big, they will make, because they don't have that experience of like building from the ground up, starting from the get-go with like a specific direction that is being followed throughout all the steps of the company growing. So that's really smart.
I'm sure we'll make other mistakes,
It's
but
okay.
hopefully
Those are part of the
not.
job. Like, just blame the youths. Just blame
Yeah.
the. Just like
that's another
yeah.
that's another benefit of working with young people. Oh, well, it's their fault.
It's a kid. Like he doesn't know any better. It's
Yeah.
fine. Oh man. So basically, you're telling me all these like super cool things, and it's obvious that you love what you do and you love your job. You also told us that, but is there something that you hate? Probably hate. It's like like too strong of a word, but there's something that you don't like of what you're doing. You will really like to change.
I think being a because right now my team works everybody on my team works part-time except for me, so I think that's probably the hardest thing, even though I have a team and still sort of running the company as a solo entrepreneur.
Mhm.
And that is really really hard. Some days it's like, it's really exciting and there's new things happening, new meetings, new, I don't know, new events to attend, and other days it's like I don't even know where to start. um, so I think it's a catch 22 because some days it's really inspiring and other days it is something that I hate. It's like it's
Yeah.
really really hard to juggle all of that stuff and make sure that the bills are paid and
Yeah.
um, yeah, having some sort of like social life has been challenging.
Who need that? Like,
Yeah, yeah, I
that's
know
like
it's totally
overrated.
overrated.
Yeah.
um,
You can have nice online conversation with strangers or like interviews. That's your social
well,
life.
and I have a social life with my 17 and 18-year-old team.
Yeah.
We hang out all the time, but um, yeah, I think that's been like the hardest thing is the
Mhm.
the entrepreneurial journey. And I had a meeting earlier this week with our accountant, getting ready for, taxes and everything next year. And she said most businesses, it takes them 5 years to finally feel like sustainable.
Hmm.
And most people quit before that time. So that was like sort of encouraging, but also really discouraging. Like we're only a year and a half in. I have to wait 3.5 more years to feel sustainable. That's not cool. I
Damn.
think we'll get there sooner, but it actually was good to sort of keep in mind like this is hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Most people quit
Oh
actually.
yeah, absolutely. And also like I don't know, like probably it's a bit of a digression that it's not relatable to this one, but even for startups that they get like those huge amount of money get funded, like they get like I don't know, $600 million of funding and stuff like that. It's not like all flowers and soaps. Also that it's really dangerous because you're not profitable, and like every company you're not profitable. You cannot even break even for the first 2-3 years
Right.
probably. And having that amount of money on top of you from investors and say, okay, now you have to pay me back and you have to gain like 10 times more of what you were valued at the beginning, that's really challenging and stressful. So probably the approach of starting small and just doing your small things and then slowly constantly growing will give you a better approach, like a better opportunities, because you don't have the pressure of we have to reach that goal absolutely. You're just like slowly growing, and you can also decide if for a year like you don't want to grow and you want to just like solidify your team and just like cool and chill down a little bit for a little bit of time. You have the ability to do it because of the approach that you're following.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a lot more flexibility
Yeah.
because I don't owe anybody anything. We don't have investors or bank loans or anything like
Hmm.
that. So that does make it, in some ways, it makes it easier. Having more capital gives you flexibility in some ways
Yeah,
too.
for
But
sure. Yeah.
yeah, they both have their
Hmm.
advantages and disadvantages
Yeah,
for sure.
true. Awesome. So, do you have like some predictions in like your field of work, like in terms of social media, or how the companies are approaching these? Like, how can we be relevant on this world, like in this day and age of like crazy information and speed? Like, do you have something? I don't know. Do you think something will happen in the near future, or there's gonna be a big shift somewhere, or everything is gonna remain like that until we reach saturation and no one's gonna be able to promote themselves online anymore?
Well, I think we've already sort of reached
Yeah.
saturation. I think, the people that are still making quality content can still get through. I think it always comes back to the quality of the content. And if you're saying something of value that people actually want to read or listen to, um, there's a lot of cool things happening in VR and AR and chatbot technology. I think we're going to see a lot more automation.
Mhm.
But I think it's always going to come back down to like the quality of the content, and social media is about being social. So really engaging, actually talking to people. I don't know. I think basically keeping the person in mind is always, at the end of the day, that's what is going to have
Mhm.
to be the thing that gets through the noise, because it is hard. It's
Yeah,
definitely, I think we
absolutely.
have reached saturation.
Oh yes, like with ourselves even. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't stand myself anymore, not even online. Like hearing my voice and watching my face on my own channel. This is too much.
But you have to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you have to keep going with it.
Damn it.
Because
So it's okay.
no, but
Um,
you're providing something of value. It's not just like bullshit. So you
yeah,
have to keep going.
that's true. That's true. So we're almost at the end of the interview. I don't know if you're tired, but thank you so much for all the time that you're dedicating. Now we're gonna have like a bunch of like quick questions just to conclude and relax and cool down at the end of the interview. So we already established that you have pretty much zero work-life balance, or like close
Right.
to zero.
Work, life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the balance.
But do you have any personal projects or something like, I don't know, a hobby, something that is not related to need marketing or your company or the conferences or something like that that you really like to do on your free time, spare time, whatever?
I like to bake, but I have not baked in a long time. I want to get back to that. It's the holiday season, so maybe I'll do some baking for the
Yes.
holidays.
I was really
Um,
upset that you didn't bake any, like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of cookies during the conference. I was expecting that, like a full table of cookies or
Next
biscotti.
time, next year. Yeah, next year. And next year we'll send like Christmas cookies to all of our friends and clients and everything. We didn't get around to that this year, but
Oh,
next year.
that's so sweet.
And my other hobby, I guess, or something that I've been doing is just running. I ran a big race this year and I want to keep doing that. So that's been fun.
How big was the race?
I ran 52 kilometers trail running in the mountains.
Whoa, 52 kilometers. Oh my God. Like
Yeah,
my knees give up after 8 to 9 kilometers. Like they literally like pop out of the kneecaps and they punch me and say, let's go
they
back
just say,
home now.
no, you cannot move
Like,
anymore.
what are you
Yeah, I
doing?
mean,
Dude, stop. Like, 52 kilometers. How much did you have to train to actually being able to hold on for like stay alive for 52 kilometers of trail running?
um, I should have trained more. The farthest that I ran before the race was about half, maybe a little more than half. I think I ran like 30K before the race.
That's
So,
insane.
yeah, it takes a lot of time,
Oh,
all that
wow.
training,
Yeah. Oh my
but
God.
it's fun.
It's fun. Well, if you say so. Yeah.
It's not really fun, actually. It's that's a lie, but it's very rewarding.
I do it because I like pain.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Exactly.
It's
Just,
rewarding. It's rewarding.
it's rewarding. Yes. Okay. So, how do you see yourself in 10 years or near future? If 10 years is too far away, but how do you see
Oh,
yourself
that's
in the
really fun.
future?
I see myself running knit marketing and knit marketing expanding. And that's business. I guess in personal life, I see we're building a tiny house. Oh, that's another hobby, I guess. We're building a tiny house on wheels. So I see myself living in my tiny house in the mountains.
No way. Those
Yeah,
like I saw all those articles like on social media, of course, about this like tiny house living and like really compact type of living. It's like, do you like that? Like, I feel like I'm gonna have like, I don't know, a panic attack as soon as I step in. Like, do you have experience with that?
yeah. I mean, I have never lived in a space that small, but I think anytime, like if you think about anytime you travel in like a hotel or if you like camping, like anytime you travel, you have a lot less stuff with
Hmm.
you. And I've always found it a lot more liberating. Like there's less to think about and less to clean, less to, I don't know,
Yeah.
less to manage. So, yeah, the space that doesn't scare me. I think it's liberating more than like the opposite.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely. Absolutely. Do you consider yourself a minimalist or would you like to be a minimalist?
Um, Not, I don't know. I don't really consider myself a minimalist, but I don't really think about it. Like
Yeah,
I buy the stuff that I want to buy and I don't buy it if it's unnecessary. I don't know.
that's good. That's good. That's a really good answer. Okay, so this is the tough one that everyone fails during the interview. Try to describe yourself
Fail.
in
Okay.
3 words.
Oh yeah, I fail. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, everyone answers that.
That's three
I don't know.
words.
I don't know.
Yeah. um,
We can skip that if it's okay.
yeah, I don't know. I need more. I can't even say my business in 3 words, let alone my whole self.
Yeah, that was an exercise during the conference, right? Like trying to define your business story or like your business model in just less than 5 words or something like that. It was
Right.
like
Yeah,
really
in a
tough.
sentence.
Yeah. Okay, just let's skip that. So
I'll come back to you.
Yeah, it's okay. I will write your answer in the description below the video if you want to get 3 words. I use it as a title of this episode, but it's okay. If you had to recommend an artist or a song to the audience, basically something that you really like, maybe not recent or something that, oh, I'm currently listening to this, but something that, even a really old song that every time you hear it makes you happy or it makes you more productive or something like that, what artist or song would you like to recommend? If you have
I don't know, Alex. I'm so bad with music. I sort of just listen to whatever's on. I really don't. I'm the wrong person to ask this question.
Okay, which audio frequency someone should listen to? No, nothing. Just like turn on the radio and whatever jams like work.
Well, like, okay, so
you.
the like the playlist that I'm listening to right now is like Imagine Dragons playlist. So that kind of music. But I wouldn't like I don't know. I'm really boring. I don't go to
you're
concerts.
not boring. Like, it's okay.
Know.
You're not boring. Like, don't say that. It's like, no, it's not true.
I always like shirk off the DJ responsibilities to somebody else. I'm like, I want to listen to music, but I have no idea what I want to listen to. So it's somebody else's job.
That's a good approach, is that? And most likely it's going to be like a kid, so you can blame him as well. Like, oh, this music sucks. Oh, is this 17 years old that doesn't know anything about music, so it's his fault.
Great.
Like, that's a really good approach, like blaming the youth for everything. That's really a really good point. Well, pretty much at the end of the interview. What's up?
Does anybody ever ask you questions on your interviews?
No.
What's your favorite song?
My favorite song, I love Scandinavian power metal, so I'm not sure I should give suggestions about it.
Yes, you should, and you should put that like in the outro of this.
The outro, yes, just to like destroy the eardrums of everyone that is like listening. But yeah, one of my favorite band is like Nightwish and Sabaton. I don't know if you ever heard them. They're great. They're fantastic. Sorry, crazy music. But it's okay. I'm a crazy person, so I like crazy music. I guess we're pretty much at the end of the interview. That was fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for answering all the stupid questions that I asked you. And you're great. You're fantastic. So.
I try.
Where can people find you online? And if there are some like young professionals here that maybe like are not based on the US, can they send you an email just to maybe ask you some advice, or if you're hiring or something else, where they can find you online?
Sure. We're at knitmarketing.com, and Alex is helping us with our website. Right now it's just our basic website, but in a month or two it'll be beautiful and new. So look at that. Knitmarketing.com, and then you can email me at rebecca@knitmarketing.com, and then we're on social media everywhere with the handle @knitmarketing.
Okay, and of course all the links to these amazing things are going to be in the description below the video, so you're not going to miss anything. But thank you again, Rebecca, for your time. That was a fantastic interview, and I wish you all the best for all the things to come.
Thank you. You too. I'm excited.
Yes, it's an exciting time. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.